this week's episode of A Day in the Life of Acespeed. I've got quite a few surprises for you today, including a road test of a Cooper, John Cooper Works. We've got a really big surprise in the middle of it where we're going to announce something, and we brought somebody especially for this filming. But when we brought Mark Stone here today, he was talking about this Innocenti Mini, so we decided to cover this a little bit. He has been here all week. He was here for last week's filming, but I think he eats all his coffee, biscuits, all the food we have, but it's good security. So you're going to tell us something about this Innocenti Mini?
To the casual observer, this is a Mini Cooper. Nothing unusual in that. What is unusual, this is an Innocenti Mini, built in Italy. Innocenti is a town in Italy where Corradino d'Ascanio invented in the 40s the famous Vespa scooter. And Vespa scooters got the Italians moving. The problem was, when Mr. Ascanio passed, his son took over. He wasn't the most astute businessman, so he decided to have a go at building cars. And one of the cars they built under license was the Mini, hence the famous Innocenti Mini. They are extremely collectible little cars. Regrettably, they didn't save the Vespa brand or the Vespa company, but they are very, very desirable. Now Andy's going to tell us what's under the bonnet of this, because it's certainly not a standard Mini, isn't this?
No, it isn't. It's great. You're talking about these Innocentis. What I think about the Innocentis, they're like the plush Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
They come with what I think we should have done with the dashboard, with a separate rev counter and the kilometres an hour speedo. But when we come to the business end of it, this one's been tricked a little bit. So it's a 1293 A-series engine, so it's a plus 20, 1275, twin inch and a half SUs, uprated radiator, it's been converted to alternator. A peppy little 110 horsepower car. It's come in for sort of detailing. We've done the engine, it had a clutch and gearbox problem. And it's just when you came today and you saw it, that it brought it to mind that you wanted to talk about it.
Well, as I said, you don't see them very often.
I think this is only one of a handful we've had through our hands. The beauty of this car is it was an Italian gentleman who lived in the UK and went to Italy on holiday and brought the car back with him. So it actually was left-hand drive when he brought it back, and he's converted it since. And he kept the car until his untimely passing and passed it on to his daughter, who asked us to recommission it. And we've just finished recommissioning it, as you can tell if you look under the bonnet. You know, we sorted out a wiper motor, the hoses have been changed, new clips, sorted out the oil cooler which were leaking. She wanted a row of lights on it, but just a lovely little car.
Yeah, and as I said, the great thing about them is they are ostensibly an Italian car that was built under license, like BMW did with the little Austin 7, things like that. There's numerous British cars been built under license and have been at times the saviour of many a foreign motor manufacturer. At times it's just a shame they've never shown the recognition you would have hoped for, that a great British iconic design helped them out of a sticky patch.
I just think the little trinkets they do to it. If you showed the quarter lights, just open that door there so we could show people the quarter lights on an Innocenti Mini. You got these in Australian Minis as well. But I always liked quarter lights on cars because of my dad. Every car my dad ever had.
Well, the other great thing about quarter lights is you can have it open, get air in, but they deflect a lot of breeze and draft.
And you can have your pipe on as well.
Yes.
There he goes, look.
Of course.
So I just think the Italians did something special with these. That's what I like about them. I love the trim. I love the little trinkets. I like the chrome around the door where they just didn't put a single piece around. They actually wrapped the top of the door. Look at the top of the door there.
All around here, yeah.
And I think it's a fabulous bit of engineering, is that. I mean, it must have come at a cost, I've got to say that, because obviously it was well renowned that they weren't making any money with Minis. So obviously when they took these to Italy and they were doing this little bit of extra work on them, I wonder where they were on costs. I wonder what the Italians thought of them, you know, when you think the Fiat 500 and their little cars and the sports cars they used to use. I wonder where these fit in. But I've got to say, I've got a real soft spot for them.
I think the problem was they were up against the famous Fiat 500, of course, which we reviewed a few weeks ago, and the cost of the Innocenti Mini was above that of the Fiat 500, and the little cars like these in Italy, people just wanted them very cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
The little Mini's a cheerful car, but after Innocenti had done the business on it, it wasn't particularly cheap anymore.
I think that the thing that you've got is that your Italian youngsters like the Fiat 500 and like the English youngsters like the Mini. It's just, it's a culture thing.
It's a culture
It's
thing,
just, you know, Beatles in Germany and things like that. I get it. as you're aware from his past interviews, I like all cars for all reasons.
Yeah.
But I've always had a soft spot for the Mini. But I think if I'd been born in Italy, which I wish I had been, I'd have probably been into Fiat 500.
You'd have wanted an Abarth 500, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't have had oak standards, mate. So that concludes the Innocenti.
The surprise today is art by Bex. I mean, yet more blatant, hard-faced product placement, of course. But Bex is here to discuss something with Andy Ace himself. 25 years in motorsport, a big celebration. Andy and Bex are going to be collaborating together again. Andy already owns some of Bex's paintings, and it's one of those things. I mean, she's a fantastic artist. She has a passion for minis, and Andy has his passion for motorsport. So what better combination? I'll hand over to Andy and Bex.
Now then, well, we've got something to announce today. Like Mark's just said, it's 25 years of motorsport plus 25 years of my business. And I've known Bex quite a while, and she's done me some artwork in the past, which we're displaying just behind us here, which is to celebrate one of my Goodwood runs when we ran a few cars. But I got in touch with Bex. I said, look, I'm 25 years in business. I've done 25 years of circuit racing. I'd like to try and do a montage of cars I've driven. So in her usual way, said, send me some photographs. And then Bex turned up today, and we're going to talk about the collaboration. We're going to talk about how Bex got into this and a few other things. So anyway, Bex, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Oh, thank you very much. So, of course, I specialise in capturing classic and iconic cars on canvas. These are usually bespoke, as Andy knows. Your commission painting captured 3 of your classics, racing at Goodwood, capturing that moment especially for you. And I love what I do, and of course being here painting with minis around me, this is a dream come true for me.
So Bex, I can see you working on this one a little bit, and I understand you do a little bit with the Italian Job film. Tell us a bit about this one.
Yeah, this is very special. So it's part of my legendary anniversary collection, and we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Italian Job. Super special anniversary. Of course, that was last year now. I'm literally just putting in a few finishing touches to this, and of course this has been signed. It has yet to be signed by me. Everyone else has done it. So we've got John Cooper, John Morris, who was the stunt double for Michael Caine for the movie.
Wow.
David Salamone, who was the Red Mini driver, and of course...
Wow, who's this?
Remy Julienne. You know, he's 90 now.
Unbelievable.
And he was the stunt coordinator for this movie, as well as James Bond movies, so iconic.
You've done a few of these, haven't you? I've seen quite a few of your bits of work.
Yeah, there's 50 limited prints of this artwork, amongst other different scenes of the iconic Italian Job, so... yeah, I love it.
But you don't just do Italian Job, do you? What's the one behind you?
No, this is very special.
I really like this one. This one's really special.
Yeah, so of course this is the 60th anniversary of the Mini, and this is the original, but of course there was prints of this which have now actually sold out. But however, Andy does own number 9.
Wow.
A very limited edition. Of course, these are the Italian Job Mini, 33 EJB, so it had to be signed by Paddy Hopkirk. And of course the very first Mini ever made by
And look at the signature in the middle, the one that Tony Jardine does this, where he does his signature and then he does a little racing card. I just think them little quirks. I've been trying to do that with my own signature, but really Andy Harrison doesn't sort of lead into anything. But I do like that. And then are you going to tell us a bit about the one you did for me, because this is incredible, is this one. I mean, I came to you with this idea about my Life's for Living tag, which is how I live my life. So here we are with the iconic little badge that Beck does with the paintings, and I just think it's extra special when she asked for a little bit of artwork and she said, what do you want to call it? I'm like, wow, what do I call it? Well, my racing tagline is Life's for Living. So I'd raced at Goodwood, I'd got the Wizzo helmet and the Wiz car. We had Matt Jeffrey and we had Ray Lowe in his car, and I said, is there anything you can do? You did your usual, didn't you? She said, well, send me some pictures, and you sent me some artwork. And I got to say, the thing about Bex, in a nice way, is she teases you with the paintings. So you'll get a little bit of a paintbrush and you'll probably get a little speck of the helmet, and you're like, oh please Bex, I need to see it, I need to see it. She don't let you see it because she always hands them over. We do the big events, don't we, and we always get on stage and they're handed over. But tell me what you think about this, especially with the idea we had with the clock.
Oh, it was fantastic. So this time it's very special, it's personal to Andy, it's where he crossed that line, and the fact that it has such a connection to Andy and his racing memories, of course. 40 years is it now you've been racing?
Yeah, 40 years.
So professional here, so to actually capture it racing at Goodwood, I'm over the moon. And this painting, we've got three-dimensional acrylic paintwork, so it really does jump out. It's super dynamic, and it's just how we wanted it, really, wasn't it?
It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you, I like it that much. This resides above my fireplace in my living room, and everybody who comes to my house comments on this painting, because you just don't see this painting anywhere.
Oh,
Anything you've seen
wonderful.
online, you don't see it in a shop.
Yeah.
It's a one-off. It's absolutely incredible. So now when we're talking about these paintings, something that I need to know from Bex, because obviously she paints these Minis, they're in every photograph. You must have driven a Mini.
I would love to, and I've never driven one.
Never.
No, never.
Do you want me to make that come true today? Right, so when we were back at work, we said to Bex, had she ever driven a Mini? I've just driven this to the home of Emmerdale, the Woolpack, and I've decided this is where we're going to let Bex take over and have a drive in a Cooper Works Mini for the very first time. So considering everything she's done with Minis, all the film work, all the artistry, all the work she's done, she's never had the pleasure of driving a classic Mini. So here we go. Are you ready?
I'm so excited, I can't tell you. So yeah.
There's a tune there
keys.
somewhere. Jump in.
Okay.
Have you got my crash helmet?
Are you in charge?
I feel like I'm at Silverstone.
An overtake?
Go on, go. Who's Paddy Hopkirk, we ask?
Oh, amazing. I now know I need a classic Mini in my life. They are as good as people say. I mean, can you hear it? Here he is. They're not him. Look on the bike. You want this?